Okay, in this video, we're going to take you through how to set up and work through the oblique cabinet drawing assignment. If I roll up here to the directions and go through these, you are to create oblique cabinet views of the two objects found below. Draw all depth lines at 45 degrees to the horizontal front edge. All depth dimensions are also half size, because that is the specific definition of a cabinet view oblique. So when we're looking at these parts, first thing you got to do is recognize what kind of drawings are we looking at here. What are these two types of views? So the two views we're looking at here are isometrics. You can see that the two lines of depth, the front faces, create a point, a corner point, and then the two lines of depth are heading back from that. So with that concept in mind, we can go ahead and first start working with the oblique drawing. So to make an oblique drawing, you've got to recognize that we need a front flat face. So if I jump back here into the slides for pictorial drawings, you can see that both style obliques, the oblique cavalier and the oblique cabinet, both have front flat faces. So the face of the object is a horizontal line. And then from that point, the lines of depth are going back on a 45-degree angle. Now, in the assignment, it says to draw a cabinet oblique. So we're going to be working with this type of a drawing. And in this drawing, all lines of depth are shortened by half the true distance. Okay, so we're going to be working with this idea. So we need to identify what is the front face going to look like. So when I jump back here into the assignment, looking at the object, let's just go ahead and assign this line. This is going to be the front face. So if that's going to be my front face line, then I need to know how long do I draw it. Well, if I come up here and look at these dimensions, you can see that there's a dimension here that's going to be 5, and then there's a dimension of 4. Now these two lines actually do create the full length of the object, which is going to be 9. So I'm going to come back here and jump into my AutoCAD, and I'll just find some blank space over here, making sure I'm on the Object Viz layer. Grab my line tool, and I'm going to go ahead and create a 9-inch line. So I have a 9-inch line, and now the next line that I'm going to go ahead and draw is I'm going to go ahead and start drawing the profile of the part. So I come back and look at this and say, well, what's the profile going to look like? Well, the profile is going to come up. The dimension here is my 3-inch dimension, so I'll come up here. Also, in the back side here, it's going to be 6, and then, of course, 5 across the top. So I'm going to come up 3. And I really don't know the angle or any dimension and information here for this angle, so I'm just going to finish that. I'm going to start a new line, and I'm going to come up the back side here, 6, and then come across the top at 5. And then the only thing I can do is connect the 2 points. So that is going to be the front flat face of the object. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start giving it lines of depth. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give this a depth line here. And grab my line tool. I'm going to find my corner point, click, start pulling back here, and I need to lock onto a 45-degree angle. And as you can see here, it's not locking onto a 45. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to hit my polar tracking settings, and come up and go ahead and select that 45, 90, 135, and it can come out and lock on a 45. Now, I could have always gone ahead and hit my tab button and jump to my angle, which gives me a 45-degree angle, and then hit tab, and then I can go ahead and work length. That's another way to do it. But this setting your polars is also a nice, fast way. Now, all lines of depth, this is going to be a line of depth. This needs to be half the size. So the true size is 6. I'm going to then make it 3. Then we're going to go up the same length as the front, which is going to be 3. And then come back again forward. Now, if I've done this correctly, you can see that coming back on what is the 35, which is the opposite of 45, it's 3 inches, and it works. So I can just click. So there's that front edge. So you can see that front edge is taken care of. So now we can go ahead and start continuing to work the drawing. So let's go ahead and let's start working out the top, and then we'll put things together in the back. So if we work out the top here, we can see that the length is really going to be the same length as the part at the front to the top. And it's going to be 5 inches in length here. So we'll go ahead and grab my line tool. We'll start coming up here on a 45-degree, cutting that 6-inch in half. That's giving me 3. We're going to come forward here, 5. And then this should link back up at 3. There it is. It's working. So that takes care of that. And now we're looking at we can really just set this back half the distance. So if we're looking at this part, this is 3 inches. I could take and just do a copy back on the 45-degree angle at 1.5 inches. So we could go ahead and grab this line. I could go ahead and grab my copy tool, select, start moving back on that 45-degree angle, just like so, and then type in 1.5 and hit enter. And there is the angled slope. Now, the last thing we need to do is we need to sort of connect up some points, because here is where we would have that, I believe it was 4 inches. Yeah, 4 inches. That should link up with that 5-inch line. So if I were to come over here at 4 inches, okay, and then go straight up, well, look at that. It all works out perfectly. Now, technically, we would not see this information. We would not see these lines. I'm going to grab my trim tool and just trimity these away. And you can see that this is now a cabinet oblique drawing. So this is when we can go ahead and start the dimensioning process. So to do that, we'll go ahead and first pull up the dimensioning tool or dimensioning layer. I'll set this up on my dimension layers. And then we'll go ahead and also make sure that we're running our GAS Anno dimension style. And let's go and see what is the scale that we're going to set this up on. So let's go ahead and take a look at one of our layouts. Let's see if I have a layout open here I can use. Jump into here. Jump into here. Where's that layout? And not even look at that, because if I know this line's 9 inches, it's not going to be able to probably fit 1:1. So we're going to go ahead and just keep this thing 1:2. I'm going to set the scale over here now to be 1:2. And then as I add the dimensions to this particular part, the dimensions should be coming up and being set to that 1:2 scale. So we'll go ahead and continue to dimension the object here and just keep setting dimensions. All the dimensions that you used to create the object, make sure you then place those dimensions on the part. Make sure you also put those dimensions nice and clean, pulling them off of the part so that they're easily read in neat, orderly rows. It's the best way to go about building and dimensioning an object. Now, this dimension here, you see how I can't get the true aligned dimension here. What we want to do is we want to then pull down the dimension tool and grab the aligned dimension tool. And then we can actually then go ahead and click and pull, and that comes down on the aligned dimension. Now, this length is truly not 3 in the actual part we made. This is going to be 6. So this is when you actually go in and change that dimension so that it reads 6. Okay, so it's important that you do that, because in a cabinet or a oblique cabinet drawing, you need to show that information. So here is a 1.5. Now, truly again, this would not be 1.5. This would then be 3 in the actual part. So we'll go ahead and change that also. All right, so looking at this part, now you're ready to go ahead and put this onto a layout, get your title block tidied up, and you can also take a look at the next object above here. Give it a go. Start with the front flat face edge, and then work 45 degrees at half size. All right, good luck. Hopefully this helps.